Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled, Well, I Had to Call the Cops. Half of my co-workers got stuck at a conference because of the hurricane, so the rest of us have been working ridiculous shifts to cover. Don't mind the overtime, and it couldn't be helped, so it is what it is. Yesterday I worked 12 hours, after having worked 12 the 2 days before, and knowing I'd have another 12 today, last one yay. Honestly, it wasn't horrible, but yeah, I was tired, which is why I did what did in this story. I changed out of my work shirt before I even left the building, so I was wearing jeans and a tie-dye t-shirt when I wandered like a zombie into a fast food place to get something to eat. I get my food and kind of tuck myself into a corner to eat. At one point I hear a bit of commotion, but ignore it. As I get up and throw out my trash, I hear an old man say, "Her. She should be fired. Ooh man, crap is going down and I'm nibby," so I look over and, the guy is pointing at me with this super angry look on his face. Glance behind me, no one. Oh man, he's definitely pointing at me. He starts yelling about when he was here yesterday and how rude the cashier was and how I messed his order up. I'm half awake and just confused, look at the manager like, what the duck, and he gives me the scared, apologetic, I have no idea look. Old guy still ranting when the manager says, "Sir, I'd love to help you get this fixed, but she doesn't work here. I can help you figure out who it was, but it wasn't her." And as this sub always goes, old guy didn't listen. No, I know it was her. I wouldn't forget that nasty face. Okay, now I'm awake and increasingly getting angrier. Well, you apparently did, because I seriously don't work here and never have. Dude's not worth my time. I give the manager a "have fun with this" look and start towards the door. This ducker threw a chair at me. A chair. It didn't hit me, but he sure did try. It got a bit fuzzy with everything going on at once, but the manager grabbed him up so fast in a bear hug and walked towards the door saying, "That's it, you're out of here. If you come back again, I'm calling the cops. That is if this lady doesn't do so first for you trying to assault her with a chair." Old guy said something about she turned her back to me, now let me go. Manager responded something like, "That's not how this works." Or something, like I said it was fast and I was still a bit out of it. Props on the manager, by the way, he got that crazy away from me, his actual employees, and the other customers, including a few children, in a matter of seconds. He pushed him out still screaming and held the door shut. Offered me all the free food in the world and told me he'd happily help me press charges. Had he left, I honestly might not have, but he was still yelling and banging on the door, so we basically had to just to get him to leave. So we call the cops to remove him. While we're waiting, manager mentions the cameras, sends back someone to pull it up so the cops can see it. Cops get there, get the old guy in cuffs and start asking what happened. Old guy lied through his teeth, saying I threw the chair and the manager assaulted him and lied about being my boss. Easy as crap to prove otherwise with the cameras. So he's in jail now for a list of charges. After one cop leaves with the old guy, another stays to get statements and all that. For a giggle, they also look to try to figure out what cashier was apparently so horrible. There were only guys working the entire day. They couldn't even find the old guy, were sure he never came in. As I was finally leaving, the cop looks at me and innocently asks, "You sue or you don't work here?" Dude, ha 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 ha, I don't know why, but I lost my crap laughing. Asked if he wanted me to show him how to teach a chair to fly, and he also lost his crap laughing. The next story is titled, Are You Deaf? A bit of backstory. I stay with my kids during the day and work nights. My husband and I have opposite shifts, so we can save on daycare. Because of this, I don't usually go grocery shopping during the week because it can be difficult getting my kids through the store. My daughter sometimes has meltdowns in big crowds. She doesn't have any sensory issues according to her doctor. We think she just doesn't like the noise or just gets tired easy, and that makes her fussy. I remembered that I was supposed to get party supplies for work today because one of the ladies there is going on maternity leave and I had volunteered to help set up a party for her. So off to the store we all go and everything goes surprisingly well. I'm getting ready to check out at the self-scanner when it happens. I feel a tap on my shoulder followed by the "excuse me" that we all know and dread. So I turn around. My mistake. Despite the tone used, the lady seemed relatively normal, no Karen haircut. Until she started talking. Lady, excuse me. This won't scan. I look around and she is definitely talking to me. Now I would normally help, even if someone is rude, because why not? However, her tone and pitch was harsh enough that my daughter started clinging to my arm. My son just doesn't care, lol. Lady, excuse me. Hello? A little help? I'm just focused on my daughter, rubbing her back because I feel her start to freak out. How this lady thought I could help is beyond me. I don't work there and was dressed like I literally rolled out of bed. Fortunately, the self-checkout attendant shows up and asks what the problem is. Lady, this won't scan, and this person, gesturing vaguely in my direction, is no help. Lady turns back to me while the attendant tries to ring up the item for her. You are so rude. Are you deaf or something? At this point I still hadn't said a word to her, and the idea hit me. Like a freaking beautiful rainbow wrapped in lightning. I'm not deaf, but me and my kids are learning ASL, American Sign Language. I just started learning it so I can ask basic questions and can sign the Baby Shark song. Don't ask, my kids love it. Smiling the biggest freaking smile I could manage, I start signing. It makes no sense. I'm basically saying, how are you? Do you want food? What is your name? I know a little sign. Baby Shark song, lol. I swear I never saw someone lose color in their fast so fast in my entire life. It was glorious. She got her items, paid, and practically ran out of there. The attendant trying her best not to laugh. I turned to the attendant and said cheerfully, have a nice day. She and I shared a good laugh and I went home. Peas, my daughter is fine. She probably just got scared. The next story is titled, Not Taking Trash is Sexual Assault? Some background, I'm a plumber and I'm only 18. I went to a trade school for high school and came out with a full-time job as an apprentice. This happened about 5 months ago and has had me ducked up ever since. I was working in a 4-story building inside the city, and there's only one elevator, which we weren't allowed to use cause of the companies that worked in the building itself, and then only one spiral square staircase, needed for later. My journeyman and I were wrapping up our day and packing up everything. As the younger guy, I was sweeping and taking the loads back down to the truck to get ready to leave, and on one of my last trips, I was only taking a trash bag and a few of the hand tools I hadn't grabbed yet. I'm in my normal work clothes, but my boss isn't strict about wearing company clothing, so I'm only wearing my Dickies pants and a beat-up sweatshirt with no labels. I start walking down the stairs with the trash from the 4th floor to the bottom when a worker, networking, caller helpline company, from the 3rd floor walked out with a trash bag. I briefly walked past, just finishing my day, when she scoffed at me. Me being the kid I am, turn around and say, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I didn't mean to bump into you, and continued down, and then she said, here, take this sh*t, I got a call I need to get on. I said that I was sorry and I didn't work for the building and it's not my job to take it. So she then exclaims, you're dressed as a janitor. My son is one too. You dress just like him. He has the same tools on him all day. I tried to tell her that I didn't and that I'm a plumber working above her on 4th. In retrospect, yes, I could have taken it, but there wasn't one of those giant trash bins to put trash in, so we had to take it back to shop to dispose of, and we didn't have much room for more in the van. I started to get annoyed, but I just remembered that I need to take breaths and walk away. I start going down the stairs when she grabbed the back of my hoodie and yanked it. I spun around like what the hell, and she slammed the bag into my stomach, sending me stumbling down the stairs. This was when one of her co-workers comes out cause of the commotion, and she starts fake crying, saying I sexually harassed her and that she shoved me down the stairs in an attempt to save herself. I tried to say something getting up, but the guy was on the phone with the cops already and he took her away to calm her down. I started to get so mad at this woman, but my co-worker came to me and said everything would be fine. This is when the biggest blessings ever occurred. My buddy loves to mess with me. He'd take videos of me working or being oblivious, and he'd throw like coins at me to be funny or dump water on me just as a joke to lighten the day up a bit. Well, he recorded the interaction and the lady never knew he was there. Reason why spiral staircase was important. By the time he made sure I was alright, the cops were there about 10 minutes after the whole thing went down. They talk to the woman and they take her side of things at first. They start questioning me in the stairwell, and my buddy said he witnessed it and had a video. He began to show the video to the cop of literally everything. From the moment I began down the stairs and past this lady to her shoving me down the stairs. He talks to her, and from the second he said there was a video, she turned ghost white. They took her downstairs to the cruiser, and the cop came back to me asking if I needed assistance or ambulance, as I had a gash on my elbow when I stumbled down, but I was totally fine though, just in complete shock. He also asked if I wanted to press charges, and I said I would. In the following time since this happened, I've taken her to court. She's been charged and is serving time for assault and battery and another thing I don't recall. What's important to know, as I'm realizing now, is that there were no cameras in the stairwell. I would have been screwed. Absolutely screwed. It was a huge reality check for myself. I could be sitting in jail serving time for something I didn't do at this very moment. It could have ruined my life, to be quite honest. Luckily my buddy was there, and ever since then I have never complained once about him messing around with me. Shortly after this, the building installed new cameras everywhere. Being 5 months later, my parents have been awesome and teaching me about all this stuff. Especially since I'm a man and it can get scary with accusations like that. They believed me, and I've always been raised by them to treat women right, and I'm the kid who wouldn't hurt a fly. Disclaimer: I typed this on my phone and I sucked in English all my life, so I know the grammar is probably terrible. The next story is titled, I Don't Work Here, I Work in That Points Ambulance. Years ago, in the early 2000s, I was working 24-hour shifts on an ambulance. Since we were working these extended shifts, we had a kitchen and whatnot at our station. So if we didn't have a call right at the beginning of our shift, after our rig and equipment checks, the first thing we'd do in the morning is our grocery shopping for the day. Now, just to make sure it's clear that there's no possible way for us to be mistaken for the uniform of the store employees, we wore blue button-down shirts, had a patch on one arm that said "State of Redacted" and our certification level, either EMT Basic or Paramedic, and on the other arm had a patch with our company logo on it. We had dark blue pants with about 500,000 pockets, radios on our belts, etc. The grocery store employees' uniforms were either a white or tan shirt and black pants, and usually some type of apron, with the store logo. The last bit of info I should add is that the area we worked in was one of the richest neighborhoods in our metro area, and usually the cheapest car you saw in the parking lot was a Lexus. So now that the stage is set, comes our adventure. My partner and I were at the store doing our shopping for the day, and it was a relatively quiet Sunday morning. Other than us, there were only a couple of other shoppers in the store, and several employees were plainly visible doing their morning duties. I'm busy trying to decide if I want link or patty sausages for my breakfast, when I hear the classic ahem. I'm pretty engrossed, because let's be honest, it's an important decision, and now I'm weighing bacon into the mix too, and I really don't pay too much attention. Then I hear it again, accompanied by finger snapping. I'm broken out of my sizzling reverie by this, and think maybe I'm blocking someone's access to the cooler? Turn around and there's this lady in her 60s, dressed up way too fancy for an early Sunday morning grocery run, and she's glaring daggers at me. I'm sorry ma'am, am I blocking your way? No. Can't remember the exact item she's looking for. I'm sorry ma'am, I'm not an employee here, I work for Redacted, the ambulance company. However, I've seen a couple of employees a few aisles over, I'm sure they'll be happy to help. Young man, you will do your job. I need you to find item for me. Ma'am, again, I'm really sorry, but I do not work here. I work on the ambulance you had to walk past to come in, we always park right up front in case we get a call. Now, I apologize, but I need to finish my shopping so we can get back to the station. Quote. I reach into the cooler, grab a package of bacon, because bacon always wins in the end, and plop it into my basket, turn and start to leave. And this crazy old bat decides to shove her cart in my way to try to block me from walking away from her. Young man, my husband is, name that apparently she thought I should recognize, and my shopping here pays your wages. Do your job and help me. Now. Between the crash of her cart hitting the cooler and her escalating tone of voice, we've, thankfully, caught the attention of one of the store employees. They come around the corner, and turns out it's the store manager. I recognize her because we've run calls at this store before. Mrs. Name. Please calm down, and I'll gladly help you. She's getting wound up to start yelling again, and about that time, my radio starts going off. When we're assigned to a call, it starts beeping very loudly. I silence it, turn to the store manager, and apologize to her for running off and leaving my groceries in the cart, but we're getting a call and I have to go. She's very understanding, and as I'm walking off, I hear the old bat yelling at the store manager, "Where does he think he's going? I need item." And her reply, presumably, to his ambulance to respond to that call, since that's his job. The next story is titled, "I'm Calling the Owner." There was this little restaurant I go to. It's a nice little pub with really cheap food and really friendly staff. They also have a shuffleboard table, and that's where this story begins. I was on my lunch break from my actual job. I'm a manager, so I usually have to wear nice polos or button-up dress shirts. Anyway, I'm eating my lunch while playing shuffleboard with myself. The bar is being overrun by a bunch of people and the poor bartender was all on her own. There weren't any employees helping with the tables out in the dining room. I personally know the bartender, so I come up and ask if she needed any orders taken to any tables. She smiled at me and pointed to the plates that were on the serving tray. "Those go to the table in the corner," she said as she continued making drinks. I nodded and took the tray and made way over to the table and served them. "This one lady we'll call Karen." She had the "I wanna talk to your manager" style haircut. Looks at me and scoffs. "Karen, I have never seen it take this ducking long for me to get a goddamn sandwich." Me, "Sorry for that, hon, but she's been really busy at the bar," I say, pointing to my friend. "Karen, I know, and yet you just sit at the shuffleboard table and eat your ducking burger while you let her drown. What kind of manager are you?" I raise a brow before remembering how nicely I'm dressed. Seeing she believed I was a manager there, I replied pretty normally. Me, "Oh, I'm don't work here." She, Karen, cuts me off. "Don't try to bullcrap your way out of this, I've heard enough. I'm calling the owner of this place rock now and letting him know how much of a duckwit you are." At this point I'm trying to explain how I was just trying to help, but she had her phone out and called the guy who owned the pub. Every time I tried to explain this to her, she just flipped me off. I rolled my eyes and just walked back to the bar, telling my friend about the woman. Friend, "Oh yay, she's some entitled idiot that comes in here every other day. She keeps complaining and trying to get everyone in trouble. She found out my boss's name and searched his number up in a phone book, so if any of us try to tell her something she doesn't like, she calls the boss. He usually just tells us to let her eat for free and get her to leave." Like I said, I'm a manager, so when I heard that I could tell that wasn't a good idea. If you give problem customers free things, they're just going to come back causing more problems, expecting it to get them more free things. I go back to playing on the shuffleboard and eating my burger, and I see Karen storming up to me. "Karen, I told him you were sitting here playing shuffleboard instead of helping your employee. He's on his way up here to fire you." Me, "That's gonna be really hard for him to do since I don't work here, you stupid idiot." Karen, she got red in the face and she reached over and slapped me, now screaming, "How dare you say that to me? I will duck up your whole life, you waste of filth." Now, I'm a simple man, and I was raised to never hit a woman. But I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo and a first-degree black belt in Hapkido. I don't need to hit her to make my point. She goes to slap me again and I catch her wrist, pulling it in behind her back and kicking out both her feet to bring her to her knees. She couldn't move in this position without pain shooting up her arms and neck. Believe me, I've been locked in this position before. At this point the whole pub has turned to see the commotion and my friend has come over to me. "Friend, Jesus, are you okay?" "Karen, let me go. I am going to get you ducking arrested and I will sue you so hard you'll be lucky to be living in a cardboard box." I asked my friend if she could get me some zip ties. Once she gets me some, I fashion out some male shift handcuffs and restrain her. At this point the owner walks in and sees this. "Owner, holy crap, what happened?" "Karen, your stupid manager assaulted me is what happened. I am suing him and you and your business for this." "Owner, he doesn't work for me, he's a regular here lady." Karen got bright red in the face, but she sat there and stayed quiet now. I think she realized what kinda trouble she was in. After a few moments the police arrived and I explained the events that unfolded to both the owner and the police. My friend backed me up on all of it, despite Karen trying to deny it. The police office asked if I wanted to press charges for assault and I said gladly. She was sent away in a police car and no one has seen her since. The next story is titled, Lady, You Need a Life Coach. So, a little background. Back when I was in high school, I used to work as a lifeguard and occasionally teach swim lessons to some younger children at this gym in my area. It was really a nice gig. Picked my own hours, got a free membership to the gym, and the deepest part of the pool was only 4 feet deep. Super easy crap. I stopped working there about 4 years ago, yet I still maintained a membership all those years after I started working at my current company. Fast forward to today, I'm finishing up my workout and I'm walking through the pool deck to get to the sauna. While I'm walking through, I'm recognized by one of the kids I used to teach swim lessons to. He was in the water playing in the shallow end and his mother was sitting off to the side looking at her phone. As soon as he saw me, he stood up, shouted my name and came running towards me for a hug. I asked him how he'd been doing, and this is when I hear this kid's crazy mum, CM, shout, "It's about time you showed up." Thrown off and not sure what she meant by this, I simply look at her and say, "Excuse me?" CM, cut the crap. We've been waiting for about 15 minutes. His lesson was supposed to start 10 minutes ago. At this point it dawned on me that she actually thought I still worked there. I was honestly so surprised she thought I worked there, considering I was wearing a sweat-drenched grey t-shirt, black shorts and running shoes. The uniform for teaching swim lessons at the gym is essentially the exact same one as lifeguards, red swim trunks that say guard and a whistle around either my wrist or neck. So, I politely say to her, "Ma'am, I no longer work here, I haven't in 4 years. I just came here for a workout." And I pointed to my attire. "CM, that's not true, I see you all the time here. You've taught my child a few times. Where's your supervisor? Why are you lying to me?" Me, once again, I haven't worked here in 4 years, but I did teach your son and that's why I said hi to him. Now, I'm just a regular customer like you. I'm just trying to work out and go home. I can give you my supervisor's number over at XYZ Inc., but I doubt he'd care very much about this. At this point I can kind of see it registering in CM's eyes, a look that looked something like, "Oh crap, maybe this guy actually doesn't work here anymore, but I need to save face." At this point she says, "Well, the least you can do is get us a few towels for our troubles. My son is going to be freezing and I forgot to grab some on the way out here." At this point honestly, I am just completely floored. Where do people like this get their sense of entitlement from? I'm trying to think of an appropriate response, and me being the wise ass I am, offer to hand her the sweaty small little hand cloth I was carrying that I used while I worked out. CM shrieked as if I was holding out a dead puppy. "Get that away from me, what are you doing? Go get me some towels, you jackass." I simply looked at her and said, "Lady, I'm not your errand boy. You don't talk to people you don't know like that. You don't need a lifeguard for your kid, you need a life coach for yourself." Honestly, never felt so badass in my life after saying that. I just turned around and started walking away as she yelled at me. It was like a scene from a movie where cool guys don't look at explosions. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.